Hi, welcome to Queer Reality Tarot. My name is Ro, and today I'm going to be doing three readings for the new moon, the new supermoon that's coming up here this weekend in June of 2026. It's going to be, it's going to happen kind of as we're sleeping, or a lot of us will be sleeping over the June 14th and June 15th weekend. So we're in the season of Gemini, and I did look to see what the astrology folks were saying. And some of the themes that I saw was voice and confidence, looking for kind of the signs of aspects of ourself that we're ready to let go of. Like maybe we've had inspiration and we have ideas of what we want to do or we want to move towards, but those voices or beliefs that talk us out of it, we're really being invited to let those go, as far as I'm understanding it. And I was kind of thinking about, um, it seems like, we're always, it's to release old identities, release fears. It's like, yeah, 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 we're always being asked to do that. Like, I mean, that's like why a lot of people go to therapy or go to get energy healing work or go to a tarot reading. We're all trying to release old versions of ourselves and step into our full self. So the way I see it is life is iterative, as far as being a human on Earth. So there are these times where the astrology and everything going on is a great time for ideas and moving things forward. And then there are other times where it's the time to kind of rest. And so it's all these cycles that we go through, and it is so iterative. But the time that we're in now, it just feels like we're extra in the pressure cooker, as far as we don't have time to waste. We need to step into our full selves and really stop giving our power away. So it's kind of reflecting on, for myself, what I've been noticing in this season. And as we're coming into the new moon, so it's kind of like, here's the time to kind of shed as much as we can before we're in this new cycle of like planting seeds for kind of that next iteration. So the example I want to give is I posted something on social media that I was just kind of being my free, goofy self, um, and a friend of mine just commented, like just kind of loosely commented, "That's so great you're putting yourself out there, even if it's cringe." And I was like, and if you're listening to this, my friend, like it's so perfect. And the friend that said it is a psychic, is totally plugged in. And so my first reaction was like, my feelings were hurt because it was like my full body. I'm this really gangly. I've always been this, I'm tall and I'm gangly, and I've got the kind of body that people love to make comments about. And so I've always, for a long time, I've been self-conscious of my body. And so as I'm getting older, I've gotten more and more confident in my body. And I'm like, this is my body, and I'm so grateful for it, so who cares if it doesn't fit in the normal distribution curve of the propaganda we're fed on how bodies are supposed to look, right? So, but I trust my friend. I trust the words that came through them. And so I was just noticing, I kind of crumbled a little, like I wanted to cry. I was like, I kind of freaked out. I was like, oh my God, I got to take it down. I took it off Instagram. I like put it in the archives. I was like, oh my God, like I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make them cringe because that is painful. But then I started thinking more about, well, first of all, why do things make us cringe? It's like sometimes we cringe because something's just not cool. Like you're like, oh, that's just horribly rude or sexist or I don't racist. There's something we're just like, ugh. But the kind of cringe over like just somebody being a goofball on social media, I think oftentimes, or somebody just fully being themselves, that's not truly causing harm to anybody. I think the cringes oftentimes reflect kind of what we're self-conscious around. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking I might cringe over somebody who's getting older and I can see like how their skin is starting to sag on their neck or something. There might be like kind of a cringe in my body. Or I am self-conscious around like dancing or um how I look in a photo, how it captures me or something. And so if I see somebody that I maybe think, oh, it makes me feel self-conscious because it's something that I feel self-conscious about. And so that makes me cringe. So the first thing was I was like, well, I don't want to let somebody else's cringe stop me from being my goofy self. You know what I mean? Because that's not about us, and that's okay. That kind of cringe is okay, I feel like, on some level. And if it's really painful to watch, then people just won't, they'll stop following you or whatever, or won't want to be your friend. And so, and then for me, I was like, oh wow, this is a thing that I really need to work through. And so I really let myself sit with it. I felt it, and then I plugged into my higher self. And then also I read part of this book, thanks to another friend, by the way, you know who you are, the Mary Magdalene section. So I was just really feeling kind of like my higher self, and it just was like just silly and all good and no big deal. And but it was that old feeling that can shrink me, that can stop me from uh, doing the work, the service work that I think I'm here to do, which part of that is to help people move their bodies, no matter what their bodies look like or how goofy we are, to help heal wounds and help people find like their highest and best path, get clarity, get connected with their own intuition. These things that I'm here to do, that little voice that's like, oh, you're someone that makes people cringe. I just don't want to buy into that. The whole like old beliefs of like there's something wrong with me, I'm too weird, everybody thinks I'm weird. I just by being me, I offend and therefore make people uncomfortable. So that's kind of a long story, and I know and trust that you all can skip ahead to the pick a card section if you don't like to listen to me ramble. So anyway, I trust you all to take care of yourselves. Okay, so that is the thing that I can feel myself releasing, because there are all these things to be released all the time too, right? That's another good reason we have these iterative like astrological lineups where so it's like, okay, we can shed another thing. We do this every month. We have the opportunity to shed another thing and then go into a new cycle of how we want to be. So with that in mind, thinking about what is, as we got the super moon. Oh, and then also what's a super moon? Super moon, as far as I understand it, is it's when the moon is closer than usual to the earth, like as close as it can get, which is trippy and so cool because it's a new moon, super moon, so we can't see it, which I don't know, for some reason I just love that so much, to just to feel into the heavy, big, dark juiciness of this super moon, super new moon. Okay, so I'm going to now get into the reading. So I'm going to show you three cards. I'm about to switch cameras. I'm going to show you three cards, and you'll pick the first card, the second card, or the third card. Don't think too hard about it. Just notice which one attracts your attention. It might be the colors. It might be just something about it. It might glow just a little bit more. And I'll hold them up to the camera because you can see them a little bit. But card one will be reading one. This card will be reading one. This will be reading two, and this will be reading three. And so here we have, looks like a trunk with blue and yellow coming out. It's with green plants and grass. Here we have a book with lots of reds. There it looks like a dove, some bird coming out. And then the third one is this little sheep soldier in like a hayfield or something. Okay, so go ahead and take a moment to see which card you lean towards. This will be reading one, reading two, and reading three. Okay, we're going to start with reading one, folks, and put these over here on the side. And I like to work with the Muse deck. And I already shuffled these quite a bit. I'll just go ahead and do one more. And I'm going to do three cards. I'm not going to assign them anything. I am kind of thinking about the current, like right now, and kind of what's coming into right now. And then, oh, you got a bonus card here. So thinking about, yeah, what, like kind of where you're at right now as far as maybe what wants to be shed. I want to pull this one too here, Ace of Emotions. Let's see what this one is. Oh, we got an extra one. Okay, we got the Tower, we got the Emperor. Okay, well, I'm just going to work with these. These cards wanted to come out. So we're going to consider this one a bonus. This one fell out first. So for you folks, I'm going to come in a little closer on this. I don't need this to be so far away. Okay. So feeling into reading number one, group one. So we've got the Tower card as the current situation. So this card is very much, I mean, I feel like this really captures, I mean, honestly, these two cards feel like they really capture the time that we're in right now. The Tower is the releasing of the old, and it's making me think about identity. So this is very much the crumbling of the socially conditioned identity, which can be scary, but it lays the compost for that which is ready to be um, sprouted, new opportunity, new plants. And then the Muse of Voices, this would be the King of Swords in a more traditional deck. And I love how this deck always has, all of the King cards have a lot of balance. And there's also balance around, they've got these kites, and you could think of this as the shadow side could be kind of like holding too tightly, maybe being cutting or controlling. And so there's kind of a balance of this movement and working with the movement of the kite, moving with the element of air. And so the king energy, I always think of divine masculine, which is really this divine father, this protector, protecting the space. Oh, look at, we have this big juicy moon right here, protecting the space for your full voice to come out. So whatever it is that wants to come out, you're very held in that, held by spirit. It can be held by yourself, like for you to create that, feel into that courage for yourself. What we have coming into this card is the Ace of Emotion. So leading to this crumbling, it's this new cycle of you kind of birthing yourself as far as, ooh, like I can feel it in my chest, just how you feel, your awareness of your body, the way in which you're processing things in the world and the way you're letting emotions come through you. It feels like you're feeling a lot. And so that's kind of coming into this crumble. Oh, and then we have this divine masculine energy again. So I'm getting, this is your medicine. Like we could call it the near future. You could kind of blend that together though. The Emperor card, number 4, there's mountains in their shirt, mountains down below, and there's this kind of, looks like a conductor, and they're kind of like, it's sort of like the energy of elevating people to their highest and best. And so how can you do that for yourself? And when you do that for yourself, you do that for others. And so for you, I mean, the nudge that I got is that this is about identity. Um, yeah, so, and this could be in your job, it could be the way in which the people around you see you, um, not being afraid, like kind of breaking past the fear of not being how you've always been, and just all of this. So, and also acknowledging how that can be disorienting, but I don't know, for you, I'm feeling like it's actually not so disorienting. It's almost like you're kind of over the hump of that and you're kind of coming into this more divine masculine energy for yourself. And I'm not saying that in a gendered way, but I do like that energy of, ooh, I'm being reminded of in that Mary Magdalene chapter that I was referencing to my friend about that with that book. I'm being reminded that in that book they talk about how the divine masculine, which is in each of us, is the energy of peace, and how I used to pray for, like, used to, meaning like last week and beyond in the past, I'd pray for peace on earth, and I would like pray for peace in certain areas of the earth, but all over the earth, and pray that humans come into balance with the earth. and that they find peace with each other. But lately I've been like, oh, I want to pray for peace within myself. And in this book, it was talking about how that's the divine masculine is peace. And the shadow side of masculine is the opposite of that. And that doesn't mean we don't have boundaries, we don't speak with clarity and firmness, but there is a peace in the center of that. I can feel it like the eye of the storm. So it feels like that, like the eye of the storm feels like a great sort of symbolic representation of kind of this, what you've got going on. I mean, I almost kind of want to move this right here. This is kind of the eye of the storm, being in between the storm, and you've got this beautiful like boundary around that which you are in your fullest, most authentic identity. So, wow, so beautiful. I love it. Okay. Okay, so got group 2. And if you've never watched my readings before, I work with the Muse deck, which is a deck about inspiration and what pulls you towards your highest and best. I'm going to turn my levels down a little bit, blast in my voice. Okay. So I'm going to do a 3-card spread, unless bonus cards want to pop out. Like that one. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? That was in the last reading too. But as I was saying, that actually feels like the theme that's very much related to the theme of right now, the Tower card. So it's not a surprise. Okay, so let's get, oh, that's another one that's, the one that just popped out is another kind of common theme right now. The Eight of Emotions. What else wants to come out? For group 2, this card reminds me of the Akashic Records, the book one, the one that you chose. Thinking about the Akashic Records, this is known as sort of the library for that keeps track of all of our soul slices, all the ways that our pieces of our soul have manifested into consciousness. And I recently had an energy healing session where we got to see the Akashic records of the earth, of the inner earth. It was super cool. Okay, so you got 5 cards. So let's feel into this. Wow. Okay. So here we have, this very much feels like the energy. It's very similar to the new moon, this super new moon. Here we have an eclipse of the moon over the sun. That's a, I can't remember, is that a solar eclipse or lunar eclipse? So we have the Tower. So this is the card of things breaking down. This has a lot to do with the theme of what we're in right now astrologically. We're breaking down, we're chunking off our old ways of being, old identities, old patterns. So there's this release of the old. And for you, it's talking about, or it's got this card of, this is very much and the moon and the Eight of Emotions have kind of a similar theme. You got 2 major arcana cards here of being in that kind of between stage. So you may be feeling like, it's making me think of the hermit crab that doesn't fit in the small shell yet and is looking for a bigger shell, or whatever it is that you want to get into. It doesn't even have to be a shell. I've been somewhere where hermit crabs find things that aren't shells to wear, which is interesting, like a bottle cap or something. But I don't know, a shell seems nicer. Or maybe that's what it is. You're leaving the bottle cap and you're going for a beautiful shell that fits you. So it's capturing that you're in this in between right now, which is, that's a hard time to be in. This is oftentimes uncomfortable. It's because we don't feel like we have a choice, and it's uncomfortable to our nervous system to not know exactly what's going to happen. But it's also, it can be a very juicy time. So when you feel this energy, or your mind being like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. And, how am I going to do that? How the heck is it going to happen? Or am I going to be alone if you're feeling lonely? It can feel rattling to your nervous system. So the card that really goes well with that is the moon card, because in this card, it can be being in the unknown. Um, it can be illusions. For me, well, and with this reading right here, it feels more like the medicine to this card, which is to go within, to kind of treasure the adventure of the unknown in some ways, because sometimes once we figure everything out, I mean, not that we ever figure everything out, but in those times when things feel settled, it can also be a little bit boring. So also just kind of being in the adventure of life and giving yourself time and space to, my friends and I, we've been going to a sauna, like where you can rent it by the hour. That's been really lovely. So finding those kinds of things that you can do for yourself, maybe involving water or darkness or warmth, to kind of counterbalance and calm your nervous system and that sort of unknown in between. And then down here, this is interesting. Speaking of that, like this kind of slow time, there are two little snails here. So this would be the Eight of Wands in a traditional deck, and this is the go time card. And so we're getting this upside down, which means this is it's a good time, and it's okay to kind of be in this quiet space, in this quiet place. And even, I'm curious about exploring the Akashic records. That might be something you want to do. And if you don't know what that is, you can Google it or look at YouTube videos. And some people have free offerings where you can listen to an Akashic record, like meditation guide, or you can come to me or some of the folks in my the Soul Sanctuary. We go into the Akashic records in energy healing sessions or in psychic readings. But that might be something. I'm not trying to sell us or anything. You can go to anybody you want, but just the fact that this card is part of it, Akashic records might be a medicine for you. And this card right here, the Eight of Voices, or this would be the Eight of Swords in a traditional deck. So this is the card that, and I'm getting for you, you might feel kind of trapped in this slowness, this kind of feeling trapped in, um, like almost like feels like you're being held back, like you can't move forward. But this card is the medicine in this is to have faith that, first of all, you do have agency, and also that you have to remember. I mean, this is for you, not necessarily the meaning of this card, but within the context of what we're getting and what I'm getting is you might feel trapped, like you're not being allowed to move forward, but just keeping in mind that there are other variables and other things that need to come into place, and the ways in which you do feel trapped. I'm just seeing if there's anything I get here. I'm still here. So if there's anything, I'm seeing how this is like looking up to this card. If there's anything that is still holding you back or making you feel small, like the small version of yourself, if you're feeling like you're having trouble moving forward to the thing you want to move towards, you are in this kind of like this inner time, or kind of like I was saying, kind of enjoy that unknown a little bit as far as the adventure of life, but also just kind of like take inventory of the ways in which there are things that you think are holding you back, but really might not be. And so that could be related to as far as where we're at right now with this new moon and the idea of what we want to let go of, for you to think about and take this juicy time that you have to look at where are there beliefs that you have that are holding you back that you can drop. So it's basically like like a grand accountability. Like, where can you be accountable for the beliefs you have that make you think you're stuck, but you really aren't? And so you're being given this gift, actually, of being able to slow down. It's kind of like ironic, right? It's some beliefs are slowing you down, but also there might be some other variables at play, like other people, they're not ready, or there's something else that's not ready that's affording you the time to reflect on what beliefs do you have that are contributing to that, and also to get you ready so that when they're ready, there's that alignment. And then also if you feel like it, looking at the Akashic records and how that might fit into some of the beliefs that you have. Okay. Okay, and group 3, we have our little sheep soldier. So I'm aiming for, my intention was to do a 3-card spread, but I'm just kind of seeing what falls out, because the first group got 4 cards that fell out, and the second group had 5 cards that fell out, so we'll just kind of see what happens here. Sometimes I have a hard time with cards popping out, but they're really popping out well tonight. Okay, so thinking about what is ready to be released for you. Oops. What wants to be released? I keep saying cards, but I want them to fall out a little bit more. Like that. Love that. We got the Ace of Inspiration. So that would be the Ace of Wands in a more traditional deck. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, wow. Okay, so first of all, we have the Ace of Inspiration. Let's see, how do I want to put this? I'm going to put, how do these want to go? I think I'm going to, let's try them out like this. Okay, so the Five of Voices, this is the card. Oh wow, this is interesting because we've got our little soldier sheep. So we could say kind of like the current, I just kind of want to start this way, but it's sort of like the current situation and what's flowing into that and it's leading you to, and then kind of the overarching theme. We have the Hanged Muse or the Hanged Man. So this would be the Ace of Wands, this would be the Five of Swords, and then we have the Fool. So the Five of Voices, this is about conflict, feelings of conflict, feeling torn up about things. And the fact that we had the little sheep soldier, this might be feeling torn up about like the conflicts, the genocides, the wars, could be about climate change, just the ways in which you're feeling torn up about things, or it might be conflict in your friend group or families, but it's definitely conflict. And the medicine in this card is, I mean, it's really what I'm kind of feeling the vibe right now is we've got extending an olive branch, but this also can be about finding peace within ourselves as much as we possibly can as our first place. And that doesn't mean that we don't work towards what we want to see. It doesn't mean we don't work towards peace and helping and having boundaries. But this does have a reminder of balancing that with being on the earth, being grounded. Let's see what's coming into this. We have the Ace of Inspiration or the Ace of Wands. So this card is very much about all these new ideas coming up, and these are little seeds. And there's this, you can kind of see the sun coming out. Wands are the element of fire. So it's a lot of creativity. And the fact that this is upside down and coming into this, and we have the Hanged Muse and the Fool, in the Hanged Muse, this can be a beautiful pause, like being kind of forced to, or you choose to hang yourself upside down to take a break, to look at things differently, or maybe something has kind of stopped you, or you just can't do it an old way anymore. But there's definitely this kind of thinking outside of the box and taking the time to do that, or things kind of being turned on their head. So this actually does have some, it can have some kind of tower energy as far as this can be disorienting, but it also has the potential for a lot of inspiration. And I'm being drawn to notice this little door right here. There's like a little gateway into a whole new reality. Because, and then here we have the near future, we have the Fool. So it feels like there was, it definitely feels like this is has to do with, I mean, it's funny. At first I was talking about feelings around what's going on Earth, but I'm kind of feeling more of like a micro world instead of the macro, like the whole world. It can be both. It can be either, just, roll with it, however. But the reason it feels more micro, like your family, like your community or your friends, is because we have the Ace of Inspiration being turned on its head. And with this kind of like, something's not quite gelling. So what is it that you need to release? What the invitation, it feels like it's possibly a sorry, I'm just feeling into it because I'm practicing not just going with what the cards mean, but practicing seeing if I'm getting any messages to go with it. So I'm just going to I'll be quiet for a second, but I'll move my finger so you know I'm still here. So it's feeling like, honestly, like with this moon and where we're at, what I'm getting is actually related to feeling cognitive dissonance. It's more like an inner battle between which direction you want to go as far as where you want to spend your energy, like where you want to plant your seeds. And so what you have been doing, or this thing that you've kind of been holding off putting your energy into, it's kind of haunting you almost, since there's kind of like this cognitive dissonance. Um, and so the near future is you going towards this new endeavor, even if it makes you kind of scared. So I would say the thing that you're being invited to shed is the fears around the unknown, and balancing that with what is true and what is not true, and taking some time to really look at it. Like basically, if you do have fears or you have uncertainties, to sort of symbolically like tie yourself, or to hang yourself upside down by your feet, hang yourself upside down, to really see if you can look at it in a different way, and to really, like, I'm actually saying, if you're hanging yourself upside down, like if the fears are in your pockets, they kind of fall out. And so for you, it feels like releasing fear, and that whatever that cognitive dissonance is, that kind of push and pull of, I don't know if I can do it, that it's time to let go of those fears, and that will bring this back. This will like basically bring the Ace of Inspiration into upright, where you will be able to, that you'll have this energy flow for those seeds of what it is that you want to do. And then there you go, you've got the Fool. And I like to remind people that with the Fool, there's a sort of like childlike energy, and kind of like openness. And so, and there's also a little bit of fearlessness with this card. Well, a lot of fearlessness, because when we're kids, a lot of the childlike energy, what it brings is, like, we don't yet have a collection of all the don't do that, that's not safe, I'll never do that again. We're just more open. So there's an invitation for you to drop the fear and to allow yourself to go on this sort of new kind of open-eyed, innocent, courageous adventure, experience, belief in yourself of whatever it is you've kind of felt pulled to do. Okay, that's what I'm getting for you. Okay, so those are the new moon, the new supermoon in Gemini this weekend, June 14th, 15th, 2026. I hope those readings were helpful for you, and I wish you a smooth transition into the new moon, a smooth transition into the summer season. And yeah, I hope you all are doing well. And thank you so much for listening. Bye.